Army duck boats are amphibious vehicles used for tourism in Australia, particularly in the rainforests of Kuranda. Army duck boats were originally manufactured in the United States during World War II to transport troops and supplies across both land and water. They can operate in a variety of terrains, including water. The largest fleet of Army ducks in the Southern Hemisphere is located at Rainforeststation Nature Park in Kuranda, where they are used for tours that combine land and water travel.
Welcome to Rainforeststation Nature Park. Good chance to look at the Army duck over here on our left-hand side. You see that right on, and the bell line seems to be tucked away. It is like a cut of the rain, so I'd like to stay more than the water. You can also see those six wheels. They are a six-wheel drive vehicle, so plenty of traction. Alrighty. Everyone enjoy their tour? It's very fun. So I do start and stop the vehicle a bit, gives me a chance to change gear in the old crash gearbox. I'll talk a bit about the rainforest. I'll use the microphone again. This tree here is the host tree for the Ulysses butterfly. The blue butterfly in the poster there closest to us, very iconic for the region. This is where they land and the caterpillars eat the leaves for the host tree. It's a corkwood tree or a Euodia elleriana. And this little plant on the left hand side just here, this is native ginger, wild ginger. Now please let me know if you do see any animals. They can be a bit tricky to spot. So let me know if you see something, I'll talk a bit about them. Now the soil in the rainforest is actually quite poor. Most of the nutrients to feed the trees are in the top couple of inches. Now this tree on our left hand side, well just a tree stump, there's a black wattle. They grow very fast in the rainforest here. Inside, that's called the heartwood. It dies really quickly in these fast growing trees. Does anyone know what kind of animal would hollow out the tree like that?
Termites.
Who said that? Yes, termites. Well done, guys. Also known as white ants. I don't really like the term white ants because they're not technically an ant. They're actually more closely related to cockroaches rather than ants. They do have two parts of the body, like a cockroach, not three like an ant. So they go through, they hollow out the middle of that timber. Alright, I think got the microphone sorted. Anyone know what that hollow timber looks like? I'll give you a hint. That was a bad example. Ready? I was supposed to be a didgeridoo if anyone didn't pick that up. And that's actually how didgeridoos were made. They were hollowed out by those termites.
Oh.
Yeah. Of course you have to be Mick Jagger to be able to play that big one. Any questions so far, guys? I do have hours of information inside my head. And we Now, does anyone know why the Daintree Rainforest is World Heritage protected? I think I heard someone say it. The oldest rainforest in the world, older than the Amazon. They date it back about 160 million years old. So, Daintree Rainforest, oldest rainforest in the world, about 100 well, let's say between 160 and 200 million years old. So when you think T-Rexes are walking around those little embarrassing arms of theirs, it's just 66 million years ago. Old even then. So a lot of these plants are very old, very primitive. Like this one here on the left-hand side. This is called a Cooper's tree fern or a giant tree fern. Now they don't have seeds and they don't have fruit. They don't need animals to spread the seeds around. They've got very tiny spores underneath the leaves. Just need some wind. So very primitive, slow growing as well. That's about 20 years old. One above me here, about 80 years old. Now, if you have a look at the end of my cane right here where I'm touching, this bit, you might be able to see a couple of males on there as well. They actually produce one of the strongest webs in the world, stronger than steel or Kevlar. And if you hop on Google Images, you'll find everything from birds to snakes being stuck in that web.
With a type of palm, very old palm. Being in the palm family, all those veins of the leaf, they go in the same direction. Now they're very strong and very long. Those veins, another quite often used for making things like rope. And also something called a billy bag, which is a indigenous loosely woven bag. Now, if you look at the tree right at the back of the top up there, you can see some ferns attached to those branches. They're called a basket fern. They can actually get so big and heavy, they can weigh a couple of tons and bring the ash out. On the fern here on the left-hand side, that is a elkhorn fern. Now, despite being able to grow that big and heavy, it's not actually considered a parasite. They're called a heavy vine. The heavy vine here on the left-hand side is a pink orchid. Fine tree up there as well. Now these birds, they produce those spores again, and they produce hundreds of thousands of spores, get flying around the wind. Basically one or two of them will find somewhere warm enough and wet enough for it to germinate. Like this one here on the right, this is called a bird's nest fern. Now, like I said, they're not a parasite because they don't actually feed from the tree. They've evolved to live on fruiting trees. They'll be up nice and high where the sun is. Only about 5% of that sunlight makes it to the forest floor. That's how these guys have evolved. Now, this elkhorn fern up here in front of us, that's actually made up of many plants. Whereas the staghorn fern on the left-hand side here, that is just one plant. Now, the way that they do feed, they catch things like leaves and sticks, all sorts of things inside the top there. And they break it down into soil by a composting system. Now, it does get very warm inside there, up to about 20 degrees Celsius warmer in winter time. So we do find bugs and things in the top, but also snakes. The snakes are cold-blooded animals. They don't make their own heat. So quite often in wintertime, they will get the warmth out of these ferns. Don't get sticking hands in there in wintertime. This little compost heap here on the left-hand side was actually made by a bird. It's called a bush turkey, a very primitive bird. They scrape up, the male makes a big mound of leaves. The female puts the eggs inside there, gets very warm compost heap, and that's what incubates the eggs. So they don't have to sit on their eggs. Really good defense mechanism in the rainforest. It's a heat from the compost that incubates it. So no mum or dad around when they're born, but within 20 minutes of being born, they're actually able to fly. Pretty crazy. Okay, any questions so far, guys? No questions? Any question?
Right there.
No. Do you want to hear a joke? No? Okay. I don't blame you. It was a really bad joke anyway. And the birds flew on the property. Alrighty guys, which way do you want to go? Should we go straight ahead here, safely? Or should we try and go right into the water? You sure? Hey, you go Google. Oh, you guys are crazy. Alright, here we go. Hello. And we're in the water. Woohoo! Everyone happy? Go back out again and up. No, just kidding. Just looking on the right hand side, you can see a rare camera tree. If you look carefully, you can see that crocodile head up there. That's where the camera is. All right, count to 3, and we all say whiskey and give it a big cheesy smile. Ready? Here we go. Turn that off. Okay. 1, 2, 3, whiskey. Keep smiling. There we go. Good stuff. I like whiskey better than cheese. So whiskey. Now we are going to go in the water. We are covered with boating law, so I have to check. Everyone knows what this is? Yeah. A little bit bumpy before we start to float, so make sure you stay seated and all of those bones. Here we go. Slowly. 30 seconds. There we go.
Oh.
Now, the water is a bit muddy. We have had a bit of rain wash down the topsoil. The forest hasn't really fully recovered from the cyclone. But if you keep your eyes open for shadows, you still might see some shallows. Not shadows. You still might see some aquatic life. Now, if you're wondering if there's any crocodiles, no crocodiles in this particular water. Where this creek goes into the Cairns River, you will find some freshwater crocodiles, and you will find some saltwater crocodiles that are down the Cairns River as well. You will find some freshwater eels here though, and sawshell turtles, little fish, and crustaceans as well. Oh, and dragons. We do get dragons here. Called eastern water dragon. More of a lizard, really. Very good fun. Alright, so I'm starting to float now with that front end. Lost my steering. So I just put that propeller on to help me turn. Now we're okay. Should be nice and smooth now as well, guys. Good chance to be able to see some flying wildlife around here if you keep your eyes open. Stuff like bears and butterflies, damsels, some dragonflies. Now, if you're looking on the right-hand side, on top of this big log that's there, you can actually see a turtle at the very top of that log. He's sunning himself over there. That is a sawshell turtle. Everyone see that one? He's looking very presentable there in the sun. Probably jump in the water a moment. Now, they can actually breathe through the skin under the water. They do have to come up and sun themselves though. Otherwise, they get a bit of a fungal issue on their shells.
On the camera? Yeah, make different.
Righty guys, here's my colleague. Pretend you're having more fun than this room. Just, hey! Woo! That didn't sound convincing. Now, this part of the dam is not that deep. It's probably about 4 metres deep here. As we go through the old dam wall here in front of us, it's a new part of the dam. That's about 10, 15 metres deep. We did extend the dam about 45 years ago to accommodate these army ducks. And here we go, the exotic fruit trees we saw back in the platform. Now that's the dam wall there in front of us. It is sitting on the left on the way past, we will drive over it. You can see exactly how deep this water is. Now we do also get the cassowary on this property. They come around quite a bit. They like to use this dam wall as well. They don't swim through the water as much. They can swim. They normally swim across the dam wall. So the cassowaries are very primitive bird. They've got these 10 centimetre talons deep and what's called a casque with a QU on top of their head. Also, paleontologists have studied the cassowary to get a better idea of the dinosaurs back in the day. This tree here on the left-hand side is called a paper bark tree. Bark is like paper. We're very good at naming things in Australia. I name everything by the obvious. Sydney Harbour Bridge, Great Australian Desert. And a lot of the trees in the rainforest too. The trees almost up here, see those leaves like an umbrella? We call that the umbrella tree.
Alrighty guys, that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed your tour. Oh, not really. No, I do want to show you this plant here on our left-hand side. It's got hooks all over it. It's got hooks all underneath these leaves here. See, that gets caught on it quite well. It's got hooks up and down these growing canes. Some really strong hooks on these tendrils here. If you get caught up on it, it'll go straight through your skin or shirt. So if you get caught up on it, you have to wait a while. People behind you have to wait a while until you can slowly untangle yourself. Any ideas what we call a plant? We call it wait a while. Now they use these tendrils here to grab hold of trees. They want to climb to the top of the tree or the canopy where all the sun is. Those skinny canes aren't strong enough to support them, so they climb up trees in this.
And if you've got really good eyes on them, it's just there. There was a little baby turtle on that log under the water. Good bush. Oh, a duck's not lying.
Now this plant here is one of those coffees left over. See the green berries on it? They turn a bright red. And each of those berries have got 2 coffee beans inside it. Alright, questions?
So what kind of coffee?
Sorry, what were you saying?
What's the oldest plant that's been identified?
Oh, that's a good question. Those tree ferns I was talking about, they date back about 200 million years old. They found fossilized things of it. So that's pretty old. We also get something called a ribbon fern, and that's one of the first. It's one of the first tree plants to come up out of the water. So pretty old. Yep. So all our flora and fauna actually come from Antarctica and that region, as opposed to Asia. That's why we don't have monkeys or anything like that. We were connected to Antarctica, and it was called Gondwana back in the day.